Hello, very nice to be here. So this is an adventure that we're all playing in. This is something that has been thought about for eons of time, and here you are. So let's see if we can make some sense out of that. First, let me say hello to many of you who are new. Very nice to have you here. I've been in the process of building this park bench, this new realm of consciousness for some time. I've been doing a number of podcasts lately and talking about this shift of consciousness, this kind of evolving of an entirely new realm of thought, realm of consciousness, this new realm that we're building. So many of you may be coming from some of those podcasts. Nice to have you here. This is an adventure, as I said a moment ago, that's been thought for eons and eons of time. Some of you will get that very clearly. You know exactly why you're here and what you're doing. Others are beginning to just wake up and show up right on time as it's kind of structured into the game. This is an evolvement. This is an evolution that we're playing in from a game that was created. We're going to call that third dimension, the space where we've lived our life for a number of lifetimes. It was intentional, the game. It wasn't an accident. In a way, this reference to fall of consciousness and bad angels and wars, didn't really happen that way. So how did it happen? And why did it happen? And why is it coming to an ending point right now? So this third dimensional space that we've been playing in is really an opportunity. It was set up as an opportunity. It was set up as something where big beings came to play to understand something that had never been thought before. But I'm a little ahead of myself. We'll get there as we kind of go through this session. So let me ask you, why are you here? Why are you here? And what's your intention for being here? So now, there's really three questions that we want to begin to address as we kind of go into this journey. And so, what's the intention? Why are you here in the moment? And what do you want? Now, when you begin to play this game from a third dimensional standpoint, those questions begin to become somewhat ominous. It's almost as if you had an intention to go to some great city, London, Sydney, Singapore, New York, because it sounded really cool. But what happened in the third dimensional game, you showed up, and there you were in a massive metropolis without a lot of information. Third dimension. You kind of arrived and basically said, now what? In that now what, you didn't have a lot of direction, you didn't have a lot of concept, you didn't have ideas, you didn't necessarily know what to look for, you didn't know what the lay of the land was, and in a very simple way, you were kind of given a map, kind of called New York or Sydney. And the map said, kind of here's how this works, and we're going to talk about that here in a moment. But let me go back to the intention. So why are you here? Why are you here today, right here, this minute? And we're all kind of gathered in a space. We're going to call it a park bench. Just simply go to a place that's quiet, comfortable, pleasant, has beauty, is enjoyable, place to relax, and basically create a new realm of consciousness. That's the format, that's the structure of this gathering that we're all playing in. Create a new realm of consciousness. Now, see, going back to my third dimensional space, showing up in New York, you've done that. You've been doing that for a long time, a lot of lifetimes. And you've had to kind of push your way through, figure it out, bump into things, back away from things, but you've gathered an enormous amount of experience. And it's in that experience that you actually show up on this park bench, right here, today, this minute. And you show up because you now have reference points. You now have knowledge, you have awareness, you have a new level of intelligence, you kind of gathered some wisdom, you have an awareness of do this, don't do that. You really followed a lot of the rules of the game, whether you knew it or not. The rules that basically said duality, good, bad, right, wrong. This game is conditioned. There is nothing unconditional about this third dimensional game. You learned in this third dimensional game that you have to go to them to get approval, to be accepted, to be validated, to be okay. Doesn't feel very good, but that's kind of what we all did. You know that place? Have you ever been there? Here, take a breath with me right now because we've already started. In that third dimensional game, there was separation. Now that was new, but you don't remember that. But you do remember it because it doesn't feel very good. There's separation. Something is missing. But here I am in New York, Sydney, London, and I just have kind of a map, but I don't know the territory. The map is not the territory. I mean, think about that in terms of you're given a road map and you go from A to B, but you certainly miss an awful lot of the landscape, a lot of the side roads. But in the third dimensional game, you really didn't have permission because people said, the mom, dad, teacher, minister said, this is how we do it. We go here, we don't go there. We talk to them, we don't talk to them. We eat this, we don't eat that. Sounding familiar? So how is it that you showed up here on this park bench? And why now are you showing up on this park bench? Because there's something awakening, something stirring, something happening, something, an awareness. And the more you're beginning to have your reference points of what you do want and what you don't want, and is this where I really want to be, or do I want to be someplace else? That awakening is kind of happening to everybody. And some will wake up sooner, and some will take a little bit longer, and some will argue for status quo, and some will push against, and some will get really angry, and some will retreat, withdraw, feel like they gave up. But right here, you're here. That's not you, you're here. And so, what would building a new realm of consciousness look like? What would it feel like? What would it think like? How would I engage with it? And if I could create it on my terms, how would I experience it? So let's start here from that as a reference point. Now, one of the things, there's 3, 4, 5,000 of you showing up on this park bench. And as we progress into the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months along this journey, it's anticipated there will be significantly more. Because we're right at a point in time where this shift is becoming conscious. It's been going on for some time. It's not new in a way. It's been going on for actually years. But now it's at a point, it's almost like Act 3, Scene 3 of the play. It's coming to a point of opportunity to launch the next play. The next chapter of the book is in the process. And you're waking up enough, you're being here enough, you're being present enough to be the writer of the book, the next chapter. And you've got a lot of colleagues, you've got a lot of those gathered on this park bench along with you. And see, this is no longer a third dimensional experience. This is a fifth dimensional experience. And we'll talk about that in a second. This is an experience where it's co-creation, it's well-being, it's cooperation, it's joy, it's laughter, it's simply, this is what I want. I want to laugh, I want friends, I want to be able to enjoy myself, I want to relax and sit down and walk in beauty and find a smile. Does that sound like what I want? And maybe that's why I'm here. And the intention is to build this new realm of consciousness. So if that sounds like something that fits the intention, what and why, and if you'd look around, there's a lot of other people. And one of the things about creation is when it's a co-creation, there's some fundamental constructs that let's be in agreement. Let's all look in the same direction. Let's not wander all over the map. Let's simply co-create. And how that's done right here is if you just sit back for a minute, take a breath. be very present, like as in here I am. And then would you bring your crown chakra to sky blue? Sky blue. Just kind of right here. See sky blue, and there you are. No complication to that. It's an intention with an action, sky blue. But what happens right here is you begin to all get in agreement. It's as if we're pointing to one direction and saying new realm with no restrictions. What does that look like to you? You see, when everybody gets to play in the sandbox, and it's done with respect and cooperation and play, one and one becomes three quite often. Oh, I didn't think of that. That I can add that to my blocks that I'm building. That's really a great idea. Agreement. Really a big deal. See, that was one of the challenges in the third dimension. We all arrived and found ourselves standing there talking to other people who arrived, and nobody had the same understanding. There was no understanding, in a manner of speaking. We all just showed up. And then everybody started to wander, put their next foot down in a direction, but there was no clear agreement. You see, that was what was interesting about the third dimensional game. It simply said, go out, create, see what happens. And we have. But we weren't in agreement, and there all of a sudden became confusion in that third dimensional space because too many people didn't have agreement. They all were kind of working all over the place. And so there began to be more rules and structures and concepts in that third dimensional game. And so in this last session, we kind of set out, well, what is the third dimension? What is the fifth dimension? What is the fourth dimension? So let me go back and just touch on all those things, because as we begin to have an understanding of where we are, then you have the capacity to figure out more clearly where you want to go. So sit back for a minute with me, if you would. Take a breath. Close your eyes or not important. And would you be present? What I mean by present, right here, right now. And kind of just pull yourself in a little bit into present time. Simply, you're done with breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You're not in tomorrow going to work. I am right here. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this shift of consciousness that we're in, it actually is unfolding. And it's got a script, in a manner of speaking. It's going from the third dimensional space, conditionality, duality, separation, power over, I'm better than you. The energetic of linear time. It's one of the key components of the third dimension. The past, the present, the future, and then you die. And see, that becomes a belief system that becomes rigid and locked in, and everybody believes, so yeah, that's how it works. But right here where you're sitting, maybe a new awareness for some. Time is an application. It's not a truth. It's not a fixed concept. In fact, we can point to 5 different aspects of present time. 5 different configurations of present time. And when you recognize time as a tool to use to create, rather than a limitation, a restriction, a conditionality to live within, everything begins to free up. One of the things you begin to recognize very early in recognizing time as a condition, as a configuration, is there is no limitations. There is no restriction to the past is the past, and that's how it is. Can't change it. When in fact the past is very changeable when kind of understood from present time. Now, many of you have heard this before, but just simply be present. So that third dimension, space, conditional, duality, right, wrong, good, bad, a lot of limitations, not a lot of particular direction for many. And this is where I am. Fifth dimension, considerably different. Fifth dimension is well-being. In the fifth dimension, there's no fear. In the fifth dimension, words like trust don't even exist because there's nothing to distrust. Fifth dimension's very present, as in right now. Cooperation, co-creation, excitement, happy, joy, all of those vibrations. Now, kind of just repeating myself from last week and previous times to set up where we're going. So another breath. The last part of this for the moment, fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is not a physical reality. Fourth dimension doesn't have physicalness attached to it. Fourth dimension is a thought realm. Fourth dimension is where you think thoughts and you attach an emotion and you begin to create a reality. How many times have you ever thought a thought and then over and over and over thought the thought? And it began to become more real. It began to dominate your thinking. But in fourth dimension, what happens is there's another aspect of present time. Or I should say in third dimension, there's another aspect of present time called circular time. You see, when you think that thought over and over and over, you're basically simply drawing from what was in the past that you hope doesn't happen again, but because you hold your attention on it, and the law of attraction says what you put your attention on, the universe will provide for you, happens again. Different size, shapes, and colors, but circular time puts it into the experience. Now, another breath. But in that fourth dimensional space where you think, there's another configuration. Thoughts don't just happen in one place. You don't think in one part of yourself. You think in layers. Thought happens in different layers. And so where we're playing, we're just going to kind of arbitrarily call layers, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth layer of thought. Now see, what we're doing is basically creating reference points to expand the map to include a lot more of the territory. Now, it gets pretty exciting from right here if you'll allow it. If you just kind of take another breath and know this is going somewhere, to create a new realm of consciousness and begin to bring it into form, into physicalness, into, first with your thoughts, you start to create more density. Like, oh, I can have that. Let's do this. We can start here. We can build this. See, your first impulse is an awareness, and then it begins to be a thought, and then it begins to be an idea, and then a concept, and then an action. You see, there's only two constructs here to play with: consciousness and energy. Consciousness and energy. That's it. Consciousness has infinite possibilities. Consciousness is simply light and love being made available to create with. That's it. Consciousness and energy. Pretty simple. But when you understand consciousness and energy and application of time and how to create with thoughts and feelings, the roadmap begins to expand significantly. And then when you start to really play right here, you also begin to recognize that in this experience of creation, everything comes to you rather than needing approval, asking for, getting permission to, third dimension. There are no boundaries, there are no conditions, there are no limitations to where we're beginning to experience ourselves right here. Now, just bring your attention to that. What would your life be if you were in a place with no limitations, and yet at the same time there's no fear, there's no conditions as in bad or good, there's nobody there to judge you. You simply are beginning to expand the awareness of the territory with information that allows you to experience yourself on your terms. How would that be? No, if I could be happy, joyful, at ease, comfortable with myself, relaxed, I could engage with people without fear of saying the wrong thing or them not liking me. That doesn't exist here. We could co-create, we could laugh together, we could say all kinds of things, and well, what if we did this? And somebody says, that's a good idea. I like that. We could do that. What if, would you like a red apple or a yellow apple? I'll have a red apple, thank you. And the red apple simply appears in your hand. Now, if that's impossible, you're in the third dimension. If that's kind of cool, you're in the fifth dimension. Now, does it instantaneously work that way? Well, yes, it does, and no, it doesn't, because I don't believe it works that way. You know, see, here's the interesting part. This is where we are. This is the whole transition that we're in. If you believe something is or you believe something isn't, you're correct. But to a great extent, many of the thoughts you think, in fact, quite a bit of the thoughts that the average person thinks, the emotions that we hold, the beliefs that we hold, well, you see, they're not even yours. Let me say that again. Many of the thoughts you think, the emotions you hold, the beliefs you hold on to are not yours. Now, for some, it's like, what's this guy smoking? But in fact, where did you get those beliefs? And if you're able to get into present time, take a breath and get quiet and simply be curious, what you begin to realize is those thoughts, beliefs, and then the emotions that came about because of the thoughts and beliefs. Mom, dad, teacher, minister. CNN, Fox News. I heard somebody say. You see, in the third dimensional game, without a roadmap, or without a recognition of the territory, or without an understanding of what I'm here to do and that I can do it myself, we get very confused by a lot of the patterning that we adopt. patterns. We simply hold the thought, and then we turn it into a belief, and then we validate it in some way. Somebody else said that too, so I guess it must be true. And then we turn it into a habit. I'm going to repeat it over and over again, and then it becomes unconscious and repetitive. That's kind of how the neuro-linguistic programming of the neurons, synaptic structure of your brain works. It just simply says, put data in. It'll be organized as you intend it, meaning this is true, and that's bad, and I really am enraged about something called the fourth ray, part of you, part of your construct that says, okay, I will organize that for you, lock it into place until you tell me differently. But see, in that third dimensional game, we forget because we get distracted, because we don't have that crown chakra focused on my attention, my intention, and my attention. See, we forget. We wander all over the place. And so the patterns in the brain have been structured in a way that are somewhat sloppy. Now, another breath. Now, we're just building on something, so kind of allow this for a moment, if you will. Because when you start to, see, that's all third, kind of that third layer of thought. I said a moment ago, there's a third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Those are just numbers, placeholders. But in that space where thinking is sloppy, where assignment of emotion and feeling is sloppy, we wind up having uncertainty in our space. See, this is the part that's really exciting, because here you are. And why are you here? Because I've got enough awareness, I've got enough internal guidance system that's simply saying it's time to move on. Time to move on. We played here long enough, it's time to move on. That's what the heart says, that internal guidance system says. Now, another breath. Now, right here, just notice yourself, because even though I'm saying a lot of words, my intention, the intention of those of us who are presenting this right here, is really that we're just pointing to the roadmaps, not invalidating them, because that's how I got here. Actually, you've done an excellent job getting here. You've been extremely successful at playing through that game and arriving. So, first thing we'd like to suggest is take a breath, validate yourself, I'm here. But all of that becomes information. Now, this is where that past is not locked into place. Everything I've done is simply information, but right here where I am, this moment, if I don't grab a hold of the emotions attached to the information, and I look back at myself, and you could begin to clearly see where you've been and how you created where you've been, would that give you an opportunity to choose to do it again or not? To take advantage of the information. Failure is one of your greatest lessons and opportunities and learning points. Oh, that didn't work. They didn't like me. I said the wrong thing. Would you do all those things again? Well, probably not. But that was a learning experience as to what doesn't work for you, versus right here where we're beginning to bring attention to what does work for me. Another breath. Now kind of just notice the energy you're sitting in, because all we've done so far is just lay out a new roadmap. expand the territory. And that's the feeling you're sitting in right here, this quiet, present awareness. You might have a little different feeling to it. See, we're moving into this new realm. And all we're doing is beginning right here to take a look at where have I been, how'd I get there, allowing it to be okay, taking a deep breath and actually validating myself. I'm here, I'm right here. In present time, I'm here. Now, here's the opportunity. Do you wish to put your attention on what has been and then run that emotion through your body? Or would you like to take a breath and just simply be right here? All of that is working for you. And now, right here, I have a choice. This new shift is bringing in more and more light, more and more awareness, and it basically is giving me the opportunity to choose differently. Now, not work at choosing, just simply choose differently. And here's the simpleness. It's just moving to a different layer of thought. Not complicated. Moving to a different layer of thought. Well, what is a different layer of thought, you might say, those who are playing here? Different layer of thought. Well, let's just label these 4, 5, 6 for the moment. We'll label 3 where you've kind of been, the noise, I'm unsure, I'm not capable, I don't deserve, I'm not okay, I've made a lot of mistakes, they don't like me, I don't fit, you know that place. That's 3rd layer of thought. Let's just allow it to be there. But this 4th layer of thought, if you take a breath, and very intentionally, would you be present? Now, not wandering, I'm here. And I'm quiet. Would you just simply be quiet without thought, without really thinking? Quiet. And then would you allow yourself to be aware? Now, I'm not aware of anything, just simply I'm aware right here in the center of my head, in my heart, same place actually, we'll talk about in a moment. I'm right here. Now, what's the next thought? The next thought goes back to 3D when you say, yes, but I'm not okay. Now, that's a choice, but just notice it as a choice for the moment, not chosen. Or I can simply say, I'm fine. I'm fine. You might even take it a step further and say, right here, life is good. Now, some will say, well, yeah, no, it's not, you don't understand. 3rd dimension. There's that thought, goes back there. But if you can just simply say, I'm sitting here in a chair, I'm comfortable, I'm relaxed, I'm fine. Period. No further statement. And then would you just breathe into the simpleness of, I'm fine, I'm okay. And would you allow the body to just relax? That's where the muscles just kind of let go. And then would you bring your attention to comfortable? I'm comfortable. We're not looking for aches and pains. We're just simply relaxed, a breath. I'm here and I'm comfortable. There's no conditions. There's no, oh yes, buts. No buts. I'm right here. Now, this 4th layer of thought has, as we've spoken in the past, has really been elevated into an opportunity. It's as this light comes in, it's created this octave, this leap. It's from all of the rigidness in the third dimension, it's allowed a leap over having to figure it all out. Just leap over. I don't need to figure it out. And this octave is a place where you enter into this fifth dimensional space very differently than you entered into third dimension. Third dimension just showed up in the big city and it's like, what do I do? Here, you show up with excitement. Here, you get to show up with enthusiasm. Here, you get to show up as if this is going to be a great play and I have an insight into the play. There's joy and buoyancy and ease, and people are respectful and dignity, and there's co-creation, and there's graciousness in this play I'm about to step into. Now just consider that. What if there was a new realm where there was respect and dignity, kindness, gratitude, laughter, joy? People liked you, and I liked people. Now we're starting to step into that fourth layer. See, feel the heart. I know there's more. It's this fourth layer. We're just going to be really simple. Fourth layer of thought. I like me. Now, there's this space where, as you go into this fourth layer of thought, it's very much in the heart space. Now, oh, you're there. It's not someplace to go or figure out. It's just simply, it's a relaxed, comfortable. Take a breath. I like me. I'm okay. Now, you don't have to embellish it. You can. We will. But see, this octave allows for the excitement. There's no conditions, but there's excitement. Excitement, there's joy and ease, and there's this buoyancy. It's like stepping into this grand theater, and there are people laughing, having a wonderful time, and you smile. And all of a sudden, right here, another breath, in that great community that's enjoying itself, would you simply recognize a very fundamental concept? I have permission. Permission. I am allowed to step into this space. I like me. Now you see, that's one of those things about the third dimension. There's a number of things in those rules, is I don't give you permission. I don't allow you. You can't. I'm the big one. You're the little one. Power over. Oh, was that the intention? No. But was that the result? Quite often, yes. But right here, you're not there in that past 3D space. Right here, I like me. Would you just kind of, another breath, and allow this I like me. Now see, this is also where you begin to have opportunity to play with skills that you have, but you never had permission to really play with some of these skills. You see, here's an understanding. If you just kind of hear this, inside that neuro-linguistic programming, how the brain works, there is kind of a tool, of a construct, if you would, that basically says, what you tell me to do, I will lock into place for you. And I'll hold it in place as long as you don't tell me to undo it. Now just kind of hear that. On the side we call that the fourth ray, but that's another conversation. This concept is simply, in order to be who you are, you have this structure that says, I wish this to be this way. This is what I believe. And in many cases, it's like, I really believe this. So you put a lot of energy into it. You create this electromagnetic field that says, put this in place. Now, third dimension, it really was, to a great extent, labeled with fear and doubt and uncertainty. And so I'm afraid. And you put it in place. And there it sits. But right here, as we begin to play in this fourth layer of thought, I like me, something begins to be available as you remember you had that tool, that construct, and you simply set things in place to maybe protect yourself or to understand how to survive, how to navigate, how to have them like me, because I don't like it when they don't like me. So I'll do what they say in order to have them like me. Now, I don't like it, but I'll do it for them, you say. Another breath. We're unraveling yourself right here. Another breath. Now, would you just bring your attention back to that fourth layer of thought? I like me. Now, if there was magic, here's the magic. I like me, and I like to let go of all of that I'm not okay. Now, it's not work, it's intention. I would like to let that go. Just it doesn't matter what the is, it's that feeling, that hesitation, that withdrawal, that I'm not okay. You don't have to know what it is. Right here, I like me. And everything lesser than I like me, from this instruction to that part of your brain, or part of you, I would like to let that go. Now, you see, this is where the third dimension, again, possibly may jump back in. It's like, oh no, that's too easy. That can't work. It's too simple. Yeah. That's the third dimension. But that's not this fourth layer of thought. That's not the fifth dimension. You see, in the fifth dimension, you have freedom, you have permission, you have allowing. I like me, I'm having a good time. I can enjoy myself. Now here you bump into one of those third dimensional concepts also. Well, it's better to give than to receive. Well, what that message is, it's you can't have for yourself. You need to give it all away. And see, as long as that belief in whatever the wording is in this space, it basically says I can't have for myself. I don't have permission to have for myself. And if I do have something, I have to give it away because that's what I'm supposed to do. But that's not how it works in this fifth dimensional space. In this fifth dimensional space, as we've said before, it's very selfish. A wonderful word, selfish. I'm going to give to myself. I'm going to have for myself. Now I have to give away. I have something to give. I can be of assistance to others. 100% for me, 100% for others. Fourth layer of thought. Permission, allowing. So right here, let's kind of play into this space with that one piece of information that I can simply let go of what does not support me by simply taking a breath and aligning myself with simply I can just let it go. Right? It's not an argument, and then I'm okay. I like me. Now, let's begin to set this all up a little bit more. I like me. In this octave, there is a smile. In the Sacred Heart, there is a smile. Would you take a breath and just, as you're kind of sitting on that park bench, sitting in the Sacred Heart, I like me. And there's a smile. And there's beauty. And would you just simply allow beauty to engage with the smile? The great sunsets and the waterfalls and the wonderful canyons and rivers and the dolphins swimming in the ocean and the puppy dog and the dragonfly and the little baby smiling. Would you just simply find the smile in the beauty? And would you feel it and let that smile get a little bit bigger? Then you see there's the joy of this octave, this fifth dimensional space. It's this comfortableness begins to be available, or I should reframe that. What has always been available begins to be re-noticed. I like me. I'm pleased with myself, and the beauty is amazing. Quiet, aware, comfortable, relaxed. I like me. No second thoughts required. Just simply a smile, the beauty, I like me. I'm pleased with myself, right here, right here. I have permission. I'm allowing myself. I'm pleased with myself. Would you have just the awareness of that feeling attached to that thought? I am pleased with myself. Now, don't try to prove it or but it. Yeah, but you don't know, third dimension. Right here, we're just sitting in this fourth layer of thought, in this octave, fifth dimensional space. And then just feel the beauty. Remember a time where you paused and you said out loud to yourself or in your head, wow, that waterfall, that canyon, the whales jumping in the ocean. Wow, God, you've outdone yourself here. This is amazing. Do you remember the feeling? There, that's you. I like me. I like me. Now, hold on to this I like me, and let's just kind of move to that fifth layer of thought, because this one is really helpful. This is a space right here where I like me, fourth layer, but would you get quiet without thinking? Just simply stop thinking and get quiet and aware. It's as if in your head, you're looking around, but you're not calling things by names. You're just simply being aware of looking around. See nothing, think nothing for the moment. This is that fifth layer of thought. I like me, quiet. Now here, there's a feeling. This is a seniority. This is a capable. This is a quiet space. And there's a focus. It starts to get very focused, relaxed. Now, right here, if you'd allow the feeling of capable. I am capable. No second thoughts, no buts. We used to say as simple as, do you know how to tie your shoes? Yes, I'm capable of tying my shoes. Just kind of find the feeling of capable. And right next to it is a feeling of certainty. Now, again, no buts, just kind of notice, allow yourself certainty. Do you know how to tie your shoes? But do you know how to put your pants on? Really deep things. Yes, I'm certain. But here, would you feel certainty? It's a space where you take a breath. It's a feeling. It's an ownership. And it's quiet. Now just notice, because what happens in this space of really having the rational mind be quiet, having a sense of certainty, begins to be an identity, and the identity begins to be you and the higher self meeting where the higher self and you live. Certain, capable, focused, quiet. There's a seniority and there's a wisdom. And there's nothing to do. You see, you are beginning to remember you right here. Oh, it's quite lovely. Another breath. Now, in this quietness, I like me, pleased with myself, and there's a certainty and a sense of capableness, and there's a great beauty, and there's that smile. See, these fourth and fifth layers of thought, they begin to weave together. And right here in this allowing yourself, you're simply giving to yourself to be able to start to have for yourself. You're beginning to remember that as you arrive in this next grandest city experience, the Singapore, the New York, this time you arrive conscious. You arrive with permission, allowing. You begin to recognize very clearly everything comes to me. And simply what I put my attention on, how I hold my attention on my intention, that apple simply appears in my hand in this dimension. Oh, not third dimension. Doesn't work in the third dimension. I don't have permission in the third dimension. They don't let me do this in the third dimension. And imagining things, oh my gosh, no way can you imagine. Stop doing that, third dimension says. Because here in this fifth dimensional space, the imagination is the creative essence of everything. I like me. I like me. I'm pleased with myself. And there's a smile. Can you see it? Feel it? Now, these are not words that are being spoken. This is a roadmap that's simply being brought to your attention. And the fact that your intention to show up here in this energetic construct of a new realm of consciousness just simply says, this is why I'm here. My intention is to create magnificent beauty, well-being, laughter. You can feel it. See, it's a feeling. You see, and here's one more piece of information. The heart is very electrical. Very electrical. And when the electricity really turns on, there's excitement. And fifth dimension, multi-dimensions, excitement, passion, enthusiasm. This is so cool. I really love this, you say. Well, you may not remember, but that's what you used to do. That's what you're about to do right here. Passion. And that electricity expands. And the thing about electricity is love is very electrical. Love is very magnetic. Love is hugely attractive. but it's the electricity. You see, when we give up our seniority to those, and we believe there's a monster under the bed, maybe, and we doubt and have self-judgment and we step back rather than step forward, the love begins to not be available to the electricity. And the electricity begins to contract. And when the electricity condenses and contracts, it becomes erratic, and the vibrations are incoherent, and anger, rage, jealousy, resentment become the results. Denying love generates a contracted electricity. Oh, isn't that simple? So simple. But the but from the third dimension. Yes, but you better not go over there because something might happen. Okay, we say, and we contract. We step back into doubt, uncertainty, and fear. But here, right here, kind of notice it, that beauty, that smile that you're sitting in. Just bring your attention right back to it. There it is. Didn't go away at all. See, that's your nature. That's who you are. I like me. Would you just bring your attention to that simple feeling? I like me. I'm okay. You're not proving anything to anybody. You're simply allowing yourself to begin to find that smile. I like me. Now here's where it gets interesting. Why are you here? I have an intention. I want to see a new realm. A realm where that joy and beauty is simply the state of being. And it's there for everybody to participate in, and I get to simply play, laugh, eat great food, understand who I am. And consciousness is saying right now, we're beginning to provide you with intelligence and wisdom and knowledge to remember yourself. And you see this light that's coming in right now is simply doing two things. It's providing expansive opportunity to like myself. It's also softening up and loosening up those I'm not okays. And as you watch the world in the coming weeks, months, years, you're going to see a lot of disruption because people are arguing for their I'm not okay. I have to hold on to my stability, my seniority, my certainty, my beliefs, my truths, that these are good and those are bad. We need to gather the tribe up because we're in fear. That's going to become very uncomfortable for many. And the light is just continuing to come. It's like a clock. It's moving from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, that circular clock. And in every one of those movements, there is more light, more intelligence, more knowledge, more wisdom coming in. And all you're watching is those that cannot allow a shift into well-being will argue. But that's not you. And so here, as we move forward, we're not interested in saving, healing, fixing, meddling with those. We're simply going to step over here and like ourselves. And see, now here's where it's interesting. When you hold that fourth layer, I like me, and that fifth layer aligned with the higher self and focus and certain and capable, and you couple it with laughter and joy, you get to approach the sixth layer of thought. Sixth layer. The creation of the new realm. So now take a breath with me. like me, comfortable, relaxed, quiet, very present. Another breath. And as you begin to step into this sixth layer of thought, and we've begun to structure the architecture and the landscape and the environment and the atmosphere of this new realm, it's a building project. It's just simply bringing attention back into that realm. It's creating a new configuration of the alignments. And here, words like graciousness begin to create the realm. What would you like that new realm to look like, to feel like, to engage one to another? Opening that new realm into an aspect of consciousness that you begin to remember yourself. And let's just start with this vibration, graciousness. Would you find the feeling of graciousness? And there's a comfortableness, and there's a beauty, and there's a smooth and an elegance to graciousness. Then in past sessions, we've already begun to establish compassion, woven into graciousness. And that's not empathy or sympathy, that simply is allowing others to begin to align with the light that you hold. Compassion. It's no teaching, it's no instruction, it's just simply the space of one to another. It holds respect, woven into compassion and graciousness. And there's an admiration and appreciation. It's the framework for permission to be abundant, for opportunity to simply thrive, well-being for all. It's allowing love to be attractive, very magnetic. And you see, as we begin to build this architecture, the landscape, the environment, creating an atmosphere of vibrations in this sixth layer of thought, that beauty begins to permeate into this realm. And you begin to remember all that has been forgotten. And you begin to hold a level of knowledge, of wisdom, and vibrational signature that others in all that is have never experienced as you have experienced creation. It's in this space where you understand graciousness, dignity, elegance, respect, understanding, because you've played in that third dimensional game and have a perspective now to view all that is with greater appreciation than any other being ever existing. And because you have that knowledge, wisdom, vibration, experience, every aspect of light and love within the creation now has that understanding also. Important, big, significant, you are. And when the Creator said, well, let me explain, you're going to go down there, you're going to put a bag over your head, you're going to forget who I am, you're going to forget who you are, you're going to wallow around in the darkness, you're going to be miserable. What's miserable? Well, you'll find out, and you'll make your way back here with wisdom, love, compassion, graciousness that has never been perceived before, because you now have contributed a level of light into all that is, because you're the creator being and you created the experience you experienced. And as you build this new realm of consciousness in a configuration of light that has never ever been seen before, it's because you like you, excited about you, have a sense of capable, certain, commanding your presence from seniority, and simply holding a level of light that's never been seen before. That's who you are. That's why you came. And that's why you hold an intention to simply create a new realm for all that have been playing in the game of 3D and all that have been watching, to simply create the next chapter of the story. So in the coming sessions, we'll continue to keep building the architecture that gets created because that butt is falling away from your space. That aspect of electricity that sits in the heart that draws the love and the passion, that space where it steps forward into excitement, possibility, and opportunity versus stepping back into uncertainty, doubt, and fear. You see, that's the experience that you've had. And the ability to simply hold this light into excitement for all to choose is what the new realm is all about. So we're thrilled to have you come and play. We're thrilled to be creating. We're thrilled to be doing what we're doing. And you have a front row seat to the excitement. The excitement, the new realm. Oh, it will be challenging, clunky, uncomfortable over there, but that's not your point of responsibility right here. You see, as you begin to hold this level of light, others from over there begin to see you. and they begin to arrive where you are standing. So how do you choose? Third dimension, fifth dimension, but that fourth dimensional thought, creative space of well-being and beauty, you are the creator being creating the new realm. So we have one last suggestion. When you go to sleep at night, tomorrow is going to be a great day. And tomorrow when you wake up in the morning, today is going to be a great day. And begin to set the energy in place for the great day to be experienced. And you're going to find yourself experiencing that fourth and fifth layer of thought much more effortlessly and much more often. So allow us to step back. We're thrilled with what's going on and who you are becoming again. Blessings.